Hello. In this lesson, we are going to talk about Apigee infrastructure provisioning and installation prerequisites. With your installation topology complete, we have the information you need to prepare for the installation. The first step is to provision infrastructure. The host resource requirements for an Apigee installation vary and depend on whether you are deploying a production planet. Production resource recommendations are described at the link shown here. If you are building a non-production planet, it may be possible to scale back performance while still retaining full functionality. The services with the highest resource requirements are the message processor, Cassandra, and PostgreSQL. All three will consume significant amounts of CPU and memory. Cassandra and PostgreSQL tend to be I/O hungry as well. These two services will benefit greatly from the excellent random access performance found in solid-state disks. Along with hardware that meets our recommended specifications, you will need a supported operating system. A full list of supported operating systems can be found at the link shown here. Generally speaking, we support Red Hat Enterprise Linux and variants such as CentOS. Note that the developer portal has a slightly different list of supported operating systems than the other services in your Apigee deployment. As part of the infrastructure provisioning process, you should ensure that the firewall ports discussed in the deployment planning module are opened between network zones within regions as well as across regions. You should also disable host-based network restrictions such as those enforced by IP tables and TCP wrappers. We recommend that you spend time checking and validating firewall port requests before the installation to ensure their accuracy. In our experience with customers, this is one of the most common reasons that installations are delayed. A single missing port could cause the installation of a component to fail, so invest enough time in this process to ensure that no ports are omitted. There are a number of prerequisites that must be satisfied prior to installing Apigee. A full list can be found at the link on your screen. Let's talk about the most important ones. Apigee services will run as the UID of a user named Apigee with a primary group also named Apigee. If you create the user and group ahead of time, they will be used, and if the user and group do not exist, they will be created automatically at the time of installation. If you wish to use an account from your directory service instead, just ensure that the user and group are named Apigee. As long as the user and group are visible using common tools such as getEnt, they will work fine with the Apigee installation. You cannot use a different user or group name, but the account that our installer automatically creates has no assigned password or working shell. That means that the account exists only to provide an unprivileged UID under which Apigee services may run and cannot be accessed interactively. Apigee is installed to /opt/Apigee by default. You cannot change the existence of this path, but you can use a symbolic link to point it to an alternate location such as /apps. If you choose to do this, you will need to create the Apigee user and group ahead of time, as described in the previous screen, and change ownership to both the symbolic link and its target to that user and group. A supported version of Java is required to run Apigee services. The link shown here will list currently supported versions. You can use either the Oracle JDK or the OpenJDK. If you don't install a supported JDK in advance, the installer will automatically install the correct version of OpenJDK using yum. SE Linux must be temporarily disabled for the installation to succeed. You can re-enable it after the installation completes. On Cassandra and message processor hosts, there are a few system limits that you should set. They are detailed in the installation requirements I referenced earlier. If you are installing the developer portal, you must have access to an SMTP relay. The management server can use an SMTP relay to deliver mail if it's available, but it is not strictly required for the management server to function. As part of your Apigee Edge for private cloud purchase, you will receive a set of credentials for accessing our software repository and a license file that enables your on-prem installation. Ensure that you have these available, as they will be needed at installation time. The Apigee software depends on packages from your distributors repositories and the EPEL repository. You can provide access to your distributors repositories through the internet, a proxy, or a local mirror such as Red Hat Satellite. EPEL can also be accessed remotely or through local mirror. For more information on accessing EPEL, follow the link shown here. Finally, you must have root access on all Apigee hosts during the installation. After installation, you can manage the platform with only access to the Apogee user account, but because our installer uses RPMs to deliver the software, you will need to have access to the root account. With installation prerequisites in place, the only remaining step prior to installing is determining your Apogee software distribution method. We host a software repository at software.apogee.com for hosts with internet access. For hosts without access to the internet, you can create a local network mirror of that repository. You can also package the repository as a tarball for distribution to each host in your cluster. For full details on the mirroring process, consult the installation guide. For more information on this topic, refer to our documentation. If you have any questions, please post them on our community. Thanks for watching.